We started in 1991 and our first store was at Liberty Plaza. We are operating out of more than 149 locations, 6,000 people, 3,000 farmers, 100 plus suppliers, about 9 vegetable and fruit collection centers. 2017, 2018, we went and rebranded from Keells Super to Keells. Being able to be consistent with our product offering and our customer experience has always been a challenge. You can literally get anything in 15 to 30 minutes, whether your child forgot their exercise books or whatever it is, your party supplies to anything.
The 100 most valuable brands in Sri Lanka. Hello, you're with Echelon, and in the studio with us is Nilusha Fernando, who is Senior Vice President at John Keells Holdings. In an operational sense, she is also Head of Marketing at Keells Supermarkets, which is one of the 100 most valuable brands in Sri Lanka. Nilusha, it's great to have you here at Echelon Studios. Let's start with where Keells is as a brand, the Keells supermarket brand, right? In modern trade, Keells is now fairly synonymous. What do you think is your key proposition to your customers today?
Be able to answer that question, let me really look at where we started as well and then come back to
Sure.
how we ended up where we are. We started in 1991 and our first store was at Liberty Plaza. And since then, I think we've come a really long way. If you look at the scale of operations right now, we have 140 stores, about 9 vegetable and fruit collection centers, sourcing directly from local farmers. And behind all of this, we actually have about 6,000 people working for us. So that's actually the scale of what we have. In this journey of over 30 years, I think there were a couple of pivotal points that helped us get to where we are right now. 2012, I feel, was the year that we really put our house in order. Why I'm saying that is because this is the year when we really started adopting best-in-class retail practices. We looked at what's the optimum size of the store, what's the optimum size of a car park, what's the best layout, how do we want to show our products. So all of these things started layering up, and the next 5-6 years growth spurt kind of stemmed from this. And then of course you are aware, 2017, 2018, we went and rebranded from Keells Super to Keells. And this really reset our brand. So to get to your question of what is our core proposition right now, we stand for freshness, we stand for value for money, and we stand for an enjoyable shopping experience.
Right. We've come across this sort of concept or this proposition of freshness, right? What led you to kind of pick that as a key proposition? Value for money? Yeah, we can relate to that.
Okay.
Joy? Yeah, maybe. Freshness? How did you come upon that?
So interestingly, when we were on this rebranding journey, we conducted a lot of customer research. At that point, we felt like we didn't know what we stood for. So we went and spoke to over 1,000 customers. We had focus groups, we did a quantitative study, and when we understood that a few of our competitors said there was clear propositions that customers attributed to them. But to us, there were a few words that were coming across.
But nothing consistently.
Nothing consistent.
Right.
So we picked a couple of those. We did a few deeper studies, and then we understood, okay, this looks like something we can back. This looks like something we can stand for. And that's really how freshness emerged.
So you did this rebranding, not just a rebranding, but also this doubling down on freshness, joy, and value for money, right? And that was in 2017, 2018, right? How have things evolved since then? Are these concepts still valid? Are they in the same form that you envisaged them, almost 7-8 years ago?
I think these core propositions that we set 7-8 years ago still stand true. You go to a set of customers and ask them the question, when you say Keells, what comes to your mind? People are still drawing pictures of greenery. They're picking pictures of trees and lush hills. So, freshness, we are synonymous with it. And it's not just about fresh produce. Our color stands for freshness. The experiences that we bring to our customers also is innovative and fresh. So, on the freshness aspect, most certainly, value for money is something we are continuing to build. I think we need to be relevant to our customers, especially during times of cost pressures. This is a proposition that we are continuing to build. And of course, on the enjoyable shopping experience, all the new retail technology that we bring, all the new store formats that we bring, all of this kind of ties into it.
When you look at your challenge into the future, and you're suggesting the proposition is very relevant today as it was when it was adopted 7-8 years ago, but it can't be a smooth sail forward, right? There must be several pain points that you're trying to kind of overcome. That's the case always, right? What would those be from where Sri Lanka is and the Sri Lankan consumer is right now?
I think from a brand perspective, the biggest pain point that we feel we have and we hear from our customers is consistency. The sheer scale of our operation, the fact that we are operating out of more than 149 locations, 6,000 people, 3,000 farmers, 100 plus suppliers, being able to be consistent with our product offering and our customer experience has always been a challenge. Something we're really trying to do is make things simple. We underestimate how easily simple works. So we try to make sure whatever we introduce as a new concept, new product, it's simplified. Somebody walks in new to our stores as an employee, they can adopt it. So
Right.
this is something that we've tried to do to ensure consistency. I think any large-scale service brand can attest to the fact that this is something they're challenged with. Having said that, it is at the top of our agenda to fix these things, and I know we're not 100% there yet, but it is something we are working on.
And you offer, besides the people, 6,000 team members, 100 almost 150 locations, you offer a range of products, right? So you have the people angle, you have the product diversity, and you have the geographic challenge, right? Which of these is most difficult or most challenging, you think?
I think more than the geography's angle, I think it's the people.
Right.
6,000 people, retail industry faces a lot of attrition as well. So we see quite a bit of churn in terms of people coming in, and a couple of months later, a lot of people might not be there. So training them, retraining them has become quite difficult. We've even invested in technology like a mobile accessible training platform for our team members. However, it still is a challenge. And that's why we are trying to simplify things, really simplify things. Have this card that says, do this, after this, do this, then turn this on, and you're sorted.
Right.
And really kind of simplifying things so that even with that churn, someone who comes new is able to adapt into that role.
Right. What's been the role of technology in in scaling, right?
Okay.
At what levels do you think your technology is really delivering results and insights for you?
Two parts to that question, really. I think we've always been a brand and a business that has pioneered in technology. If you go to the start of our e-commerce site, we were the first supermarket chain to introduce an e-commerce site. And actually, this has helped us get through COVID as well and improved our order volumes. Technology has been a backbone in our growth. We've started introducing things like self-checkouts, scan and go units, all trying to bring world-class retail experiences to customers. The second part of it is really data. About 7 to 8 years ago, we started really utilizing and leveraging data. Back then, most of our decisions were made based on intuition and experience. But now, data coupled with customer feedback and a healthy dose of intuition and experience makes an even more potent mix. So we are able to identify, measure, understand, and review things much faster.
Can you give me an example of data-led insights that have led to change uh, of,
Okay.
of your product, of your supply chain? Give me a couple of examples of ones that might surprise us.
Okay. Couple of examples. Let me start talking about how we optimize our promotions. Every once a month, we have over 500 products on offer. These range from essentials to non essentials. We have an algorithm and a data model that supports us to understand what did we have on offer, what was the uplift, what was the discount you gave, how much did it move, is there even a forward buying effect? And therefore, this month, what should you
Okay.
put on offer? So it's really changed how we operate and make decisions. So that's one. The second one is a little more around customers. We are able to understand our customers' behavior a lot better and provide personalized offers to customers. Look at what are these customers buying? What would they like on offer? So on top of some of these generic promotions, we are able to even provide personalized offers.
Right. Last several years have been very brutal on Sri Lankan consumers. We've had hyperinflation, we have had negative economic growth for several years back to back, and the debt crisis and all that, right? It's no surprise that sales volumes across the economy have declined, right? How are Sri Lankan consumers doing based on the evidence that you can see of them and their shopping baskets right now?
Yes, we did see a drop during these extremely challenging years, but I think we are as a country very resilient. We see things picking up again over the course of the latter part of last year to this year. We've seen things picking up. There's a positive sentiment among consumers as well. Something we did when we reset our brand is bring a core purpose. We've kind of revolved around our core purpose, which is improving the quality of life for the nation. And having this purpose has really helped us make sure we are very clear on what we want to be for all our stakeholders, especially our consumers. So, understanding where our consumers are and trying to offer them propositions that make sense to them at that time and being relevant has been something we've always worked on. Right now, what I can say is we see consumer spend going up, and it's a good trend to say.
When you look at the bounce back, and it's clearly evident that this is happening across the economy, uh, you have access to a set of unique data, regional data. You have access to different kind of basket sizes, spend, right? So you have a kind of micro level look at how households are doing, right? When you look at this, besides the overall improving spend, what else are you seeing?
There are subtle shifts that you are seeing. Back in the day, I think people used to split their basket a lot and go and buy some of their fresh produce, maybe in a wet market or a small shop close
Right.
by. You're seeing
Okay.
people consolidating their spend a lot
Right.
more. So people are buying into multiple categories when they do walk in. I hope you've seen our campaign, which is Other Keells Again Kamo. We are finding people find this convenient. So as and when they walk in to buy maybe food for dinner or lunch, you also see them shopping around as well. So there's a halo effect there as well. So increasing this food footprint in our stores has actually resulted in a growth too. So you see a few of those trends happening when you really dig deep into the data.
How will e-commerce evolve, you think? I mean, Sri Lanka has been somewhat of a laggard, it looks like, even compared to
Okay,
what's happening
yeah.
in neighboring India, which is a far more chaotic place than Sri Lanka has traditionally been. But in e-commerce, even India seems to be doing better than us, right? What do you think are the pain points? And for a brand such as yours, which is one that serves households virtually every day, what's your strategy forward with e-commerce?
I agree with you, right? We are no longer in this time and space where we put a Keells supermarket and then ask people, come and shop with us.
Okay.
I think we have to be able to meet our customers where they want us to be. If you want your Marmite or whatever your product is delivered in 30 minutes, that's what we need to be delivering for our customers. So again, it's about being relevant as our customers evolve. How are we evolving our proposition? Be it e-commerce, be it a shopping app, be it quick commerce. You referred to India. I think India's booming in terms of quick commerce. You can literally get anything in 15 to 30 minutes. Whether your child forgot their exercise books or whatever it is, your party supplies to anything. So as a retailer, we've always kind of led the way in technology and world-class retail experiences. So we've identified this, and we are definitely working towards making sure we are future-proofing our business so that we are ready when our customers are ready to be able to capitalize on these.
How will you need to change your, not just your strategy, but processes, the architecture, how you structure everything needs to change if you want to, when somebody opens their fridge at 6:15 in the morning and figures, okay, I don't have eggs, can you get those eggs to them in 15 minutes, right? But this requires a complete rethink. What's your approach to this? What are you thinking about in terms of the future in getting there?
I think how I'd like to approach that question is it's about being customer centric.
Right.
If we continue to only have the structures that we have now and not appreciate where the customers are moving towards, we are not going to be able to experience the growth that we are experiencing right now.
Right now.
If customers want us to be delivering what they want in 30 minutes, regardless of what that time is, and they want cash on delivery, then that is exactly what we should be doing. It requires a lot of forward planning, some number crunching in terms of does this make sense? But I think there is a healthy dose of speculation that we have in terms of how fast this will also grow. So far, we've been just doing something that's fit for purpose.
Right.
We need to be able to match the speed at which the industry is growing as well. But when we see that needle move, we can and we will make sure that we leverage on that trend.
What risks and challenges do you see in being a mass market brand? You are by far a mass market brand. You're all over available anywhere in the country. That also by extension means that it's a little bit more difficult to move things, right? Sometimes, you are an elephant, right? It's difficult for elephants to fly, right? How do you view this challenge? What do you need to do as a company, as a brand, to continue to be relevant in the future?
I see Keells being a mass market brand as a positive thing. I think
Right.
we have a broad spectrum of consumer groups that we serve. We are a broad church. So we need to be able to serve those customers. And as we expand outside of Colombo, we find that we have to be able to appeal to all stratas in the society. So the proposition that we set ourselves, freshness, value for money, enjoyable shopping experiences, is aspirational. Any individual or family aspires to have something better
Sure.
tomorrow than today, next month than what they're experiencing right now. So we feel that that proposition cuts across all those stratas. And I honestly don't see it as a tension point. I see
Right.
it as why we appeal more, why customers engage with us more. And interestingly, apart from this core proposition that we have, we also work towards making sure we are a very responsible business. So there's a lot of activities that we do around ESG. So we have our core proposition. You layer all the work that we do around ESG, community outreach. And I think we are giving consumers a reason or more reasons to shop with us, to need our services, to engage with us a bit more. And eventually it's about building a brand that they love.
What insights can you give us from the performance of private labels? I mean, by private labels, we mean your own brands, right? Brands that Keells, it's under the Keells name or related to the group of which Keells Supermarkets is part of. This trend has been global. Supermarkets have their own brands. In many countries, they account for a majority of what's available on the shelf. What insights do you have from the performance of the private label brands that you yourself have?
This private label phenomenon sprang quite a few years ago, and we've slowly been leveraging on that. And this has been an area of growth for us, both financially as well as market share. Some of our specific products, private label products, are actually market leaders in that category.
Right.
So we've kind of come a long way from when we started it. Something we did with our private label brand was establishing it as a proposition that is 10% cheaper than regular brands
Right.
of similar quality.
Right.
And this was also brought about the similar time when there was so much of pressures on the household economy. This private label proposition has really helped us create accessibility to more consumer groups who'd want to be able to come to a supermarket and still fulfill their everyday needs. It's helped us appeal to a broader segment of customers. It's helped us create that proposition that we are indeed value for money, which is fit for purpose quality and the right price together. So this has really helped us drive that value for money in our brand proposition.
What's been the challenge, if at all, in scaling the private label business? Because this is slightly apart from supermarkets, right? You have to create products
Correct.
about which you had no experience previously, right? You were good at running supply chains, but now you have to create products. What's been the challenge of doing that?
I think the challenges are twofold. It's finding the right supplier or manufacturer who would want to partner for this specific product and having consistent supply of it. That's one. And given we've committed on our pricing policy of being 10% cheaper than regular brands, we want to be able to offer that across all our private label range. So being able to be very competitive on that price is also something. So trying to match the quality and the price angle and finding that right balance has been what has kind of made that progress a little slower than what we would like it to be.
Is it fair to think that scaling your private label business and your digital propositions, your e-commerce proposition, are the two big things that you have to kind of get right in the next 5 years or so? Or are we missing something here in the play?
I think those two definitely, yes. I think data plays a big role in there. We also want to make sure we focus on our ESG related activities because it's no longer a choice. All of us as brands have to be responsible.
Those would be two of the bigger challenges that you confront.
Agree.
Okay. Looking ahead as a brand, right? How do you think Keells has to become better at sharpening the proposition you have for consumers, considering, do you have to become a leader in a way in introducing new categories or in introducing new kind of navigating your consumers to new ways of thinking about things or doing things, what areas do you think, if at all, where you'd want to try these things?
Absolutely. I think that's what we stand for. And back in 2017, when we introduced juices, prepared food, we always had a bakery into supermarkets. Back in that day, nobody thought that they could walk into a supermarket and then enjoy a kuttu. But you can now.
Yes.
And that's available, that's readily available. Some of our stores now, in fact, have really amazing donuts and coffee. Who thought back in that day that somebody could walk into a supermarket and enjoy that as well? So we've always looked at what are some of those range gaps, not only in terms of prepared food, bakery, and juice, but also looking at the rest of the categories. So we do this every 6 months or annually, we do this study trying to understand, A, what are our customers telling us? So we do regular studies with them. B, how is our categories performing? Is there a gap? And then we have our own direct import proposition where we work with consolidators and brands overseas to try and bring products that Sri Lankan consumers can now enjoy at a decent price.
Some may wonder whether some of these things that you're doing within a supermarket, which isn't necessarily seen as core to the business, at least from the outside that may appear so, are actually loss leaders to, kind of get the footfall, try to kind of sell people a product, bring them in for a reason and then sell them something extra, right? How do you as an organization view these things? I mean, eating... say buying your dinner as a takeout or having your dinner in a supermarket isn't seen as normal, at least in Sri Lanka. Are these loss leaders?
Is it not normal? I mean, we are seeing data to the contrary, right?
Okay.
Because you see a lot of young people who go to office coming into our stores, buying a quick lunch. Then towards 3-4 people are walking in either for a coffee or a juice and something sweet.
Sure.
So you see a lot of people now relying on this simply because of the scale we've created. We are probably one of the largest prepared food and bakery operators in this country, if you look at it.
Now, yes. Do all of your stores have a bakery now?
Not all, but a vast majority
Majority of
do.
them. Right.
So honestly, I think we've been able to change that perception, or maybe we are trying to change that perception, that you can do everything under one roof. Initially, when we actually introduced our kadepang, which is our normal bread, that was exactly what we thought of. Who would have thought that you'd go to a supermarket to buy a loaf of bread? But we introduced a bread. We introduced it at a really competitive price. People walked in. They didn't only buy bread. They also bought the rest of things. So that's really how we've been looking at it and working it out.
So is this a approach that you take with the long term in mind? Do you have to sometimes make less than optimal returns on certain categories and certain products that you put out there for a while because you think this will work for you in the long term once you scale it? Is that typically how you have approached this?
Absolutely. It takes some time. Sometimes, depending on the geographies, some things take a little time to pick up. But we see that potential because everywhere we've gone and invested in the right offering, we've seen it fly off the shelf.
You've been with Keells Supermarket Nilusha for over a decade now, I think, right? What have been the one or two things you think that have surprised you? I mean, you said, based on experience or intuition, you have been used to making decisions as a business. Has data surprised you about regions, about product categories, anything that comes to mind?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we opened a store in Jaffna.
Right.
We are quite late to go into Jaffna post-war. But I think the way we landed that store and the way that store became popular and the sales offtake just completely blew our minds. To this day, that store is still doing better than what we had in mind for that store. So we do have a few things like that where you think, okay, this store might be performing in a particular way, but not really. Customers really surprise you. Regions also really surprise you.
If you consider your business, there's a lot of it happening outside of the store or behind the scenes where people don't necessarily see this. You are a giant supply chain, right? You move things from one place to a store, and that's not easy because some of that stuff is perishable stuff. How do you see the supply chain part of your business? Is that one and the same as the customer experience, or do you break that challenge away and kind of try to deal with the supply chain challenge separately from that of the customer experience?
From a holistic perspective, I think it's the same. We
Right.
promise our customers the right product at the right time. When they walk into the store, it should be there. And that means that we have to work through all those logistical challenges to make sure that that product is there. So it's one and the same, but we do have an entirely separate team that works through our distribution center, which was set up a few years ago. And that's a team on its own. It works on shifts. We make sure all these lorries are dispatched with the right quantities of vegetables and dry goods to make sure that we are able to deal with the customer's demand and make sure we meet the availability needs.
At senior leadership level, maybe you can appreciate, or your teams will be able to appreciate the need to get this right. Right? But you have 6,000 employees,
Yeah.
right? How do you make sure they understand this? That the role how the role they play in the organization is relevant for you to be able to successfully deliver the proposition that you have undertaken to do.
I think this is a little bit of that challenge that I alluded to before as well. Seeing people come in and then leave in about 3-4 months thereafter, and them being able to understand, or our ability to inculcate this into them in a short period is quite tough.
Right.
But I think as a business, we are slowly looking at ourselves moving towards customer centricity. So we start from the customer. We don't start from our problem, or we don't start from our business. We look at this customer's walking in at 8 p.m., probably after work, wanting to buy the list that somebody at home has sent. We have to make sure we cater to that. That means at 8 p.m., we need to have the right vegetables. We will have to have that bread in stock and all of that. So if we are to solve that problem, what is it that we have to do right? And that's the kind of thinking that we are looking at right now, and trying to help our team members also look at
Also
things that
appreciate
way.
Right. And that must be extraordinarily difficult to make people, particularly who don't see the numbers related to the challenge, to understand that.
Absolutely is. I think it's extremely difficult, yet it's kind of simple and beautiful at the same time
Right.
as well, because this is why you are there. Your core purpose is to improve the quality of life for the nation, one customer at a time. And we have to do that. So the person weighing those vegetables, the person stocking those vegetables, the person behind the computer screen putting those orders, the person sourcing those products, everyone has to kind of line up so that that customer walking in at 8 p.m. has vegetables to buy.
Really been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.